Hi, welcome to the video AWS Elastic Beanstalk Deploy Spring Boot Application with MySQL Database. I am Nam Hà Minh at CodeJava.net. Throughout this video, I'd like to share with you the steps to deploy a Spring Boot application with MySQL Database using Elastic Beanstalk Web Console with the following steps. Package and test a sample Spring Boot application on localhost. Create a new application using Elastic Beanstalk Web Console, then configure service access, then configure database service, and deploy the application. Configure environment variables, access newly deployed application, check AWS related services, terminate environment, and finally undeploy the application. Note that using Elastic Beanstalk is free, but you will have to pay AWS resources that are used by your applications, such as EC2, S3, RDB. And to follow this video, you must have an AWS account that is the root user and an IAM user that has administrative access and an executable jar file, the deployment artifact of the Spring Boot application, the Spring Boot application which you want to deploy on AWS using Elastic Beanstalk. Note that you must have a valid credit or debit card to sign up an AWS account, and it will be charged about 1 to 2 USD for verification process, but you will get the money back later. If you don't have an AWS account before, I recommend you follow this video on my YouTube channel to create your own AWS account. Follow this link to know the steps to create a new AWS account. How to create AWS account. And for the creation of IAM users, I recommend you check this video how to create IAM users. Follow this link on my YouTube channel to know how to create IAM users. To follow this video how to create IAM users on CodeJava channel. And this is a sample Spring Boot application with MySQL database, which I will use to deploy on AWS using Elastic Beanstalk Management Console. It is a simple Java web application built by Spring Boot based on Spring Framework. It allows users to list products, create new product, edit product, and delete product. You can download the project code via this link. Later, I will show you how to get the code of this project and package to an executable jar file ready for deployment. Let's understand some key concepts in Elastic Beanstalk before going to real deployment. You know, Elastic Beanstalk is a service for deploying and scaling web applications and services on AWS Cloud. Developers can quickly launch applications on AWS Cloud without the complexity of provisioning and managing underlying infrastructure. And in Elastic Beanstalk, application is a logical collection of environments, versions, and environment configurations. Version is a specific labeled iteration of deployable code for an application. Environment is the collection of resources running an application version. Environment configuration is the collection of parameters and settings that define how an environment and its associated resources behave. And an application can have many versions, and each version is unique, and each environment runs only one application version at a time. You can run the same application version or different versions in many environments simultaneously. Now let me download a sample Spring Boot project that uses MySQL database. So click this link to download the sample Spring Boot project. Okay, scroll down to the end of the page and click the download link to get the sample project here. Okay, you see I got the project downloaded as a zip archive file here. You see product manager Spring Boot in downloads folder, and let me extract this zip archive file and open it in an IDE. So I prefer using a terminal command prompt. So I go to the directory that I used to store my Java project. Okay, so I will extract the downloaded zip archive file of the product manager project into this directory. So I use this command -sf in my user home and downloads, and then the file name is product manager spring boot.zip. Extract into this folder. You can see the product manager directory extracted here. You can see the files of the project, and let me open this project using an IDE. I prefer using Spring Boot Suite IDE. So I open Spring Boot Suite IDE and open that project STS projects directory. To open the product manager application, I need to import existing projects into workspace. Next, product manager here. Okay, product manager here. Okay, this here Java project that uses Spring Framework with Spring Boot, and it uses MySQL database. And you can see this is the application configuration file, application.properties that contains the properties defining data source information, URL, username and password. Okay, let me start this application. Okay, you see the application has been started, and let me test this application on localhost port number 8080. Okay, you see in the database it has one row in the product table. And let me open MySQL Workbench on my local computer to see the content of the table. The database schema is sales and the table product. And let me select rows from this table, and you can see there's only one row here. Now let me create another product 2, brand 2, made in country 2, price 2000. Save. You see, let me create another one, product 3, brand 3, country 3, and price 3000. Okay, you see, let me edit the product 246, brand 246, country 246, 2006 price save. You see it is updated. And let me delete the product one here. Okay, so you see this application works very well on localhost. It manages a list of products in the database. Let me open MySQL Workbench again. I have problem with MySQL Workbench, so you see it stop unexpectedly. Sales product, you see 2 rows in the product table here. Okay, now let me stop the application and package into a executable jar file that is ready for deployment. So right click on the project and run as Maven build and specify the name for the rows. Here is package. Click run. Okay, build success. You can see it build the jar file. Product manager version 0.0.1 snapshot under the target folder of the project directory. You can also see in the terminal here. You can see the executable jar file here that is ready for deployment on AWS using Elastic Beanstalk Management Web Console. Now let me sign into the AWS Management Console as an IAM user. So head over to aws.amazon.com. Click sign into the console. I'm going to sign in as an IAM user. Account ID, IAM username and password. Sign in. Okay, I am in the AWS Management Console home, and there's recently visited services. Okay, so go to Elastic Beanstalk. If you don't see Elastic Beanstalk here, go to menu services and compute, and you can see Elastic Beanstalk here. Okay, this is management console of AWS Elastic Beanstalk, and click the button create application here. Okay, so you can see there are 6 steps involved in deploying an application on AWS using Elastic Beanstalk. And the first step is configure environment. The second step, configure service access. The third step, set up networking database. And in this video, we need to do only first three steps. The other steps are optional. Okay, so in the configure environment page here, choose web server environment because we are going to deploy a Java web application based on Spring Framework. You see Spring Boot, enter the application name, for example, Product Manager, and you see it automatically suggests environment name, Product Manager dash, and specify the subdomain for the application. Here I specify Product dash Manager, and later after deployment success, we will able to access the application via this subdomain product manager dot us is to us is the AWS region I choose. You can change the AWS region you wish to deploy the application here. You see, if you are in Europe, you can choose the region near your home. You see, here I choose US East. You can change another AWS region and click the button check availability. Okay, you see it says this subdomain is available. Okay, and scroll down and under platform here, choose platform is Java. You see it automatically suggest Gretto 17. That means our application will run under Java Development Kit version 17. Gretto 17 is a JDK distribution created by Amazon, and the default platform version is 4.1.2 recommended. And under application code here, choose upload your code and enter version label, first version 1, and choose local file and click choose file and browse the directory that has the executable Java file, project directory target, and the executable Java file here, product manager 0.0.1 snapshot.jar. Click open. Okay, and under process here you can choose the type of the instance, server instance you want to provision. For testing demo purpose, I choose single instance. On production, you may need to choose high availability. Here I choose single instance and click next to go to the second step, which is about configure service access. And note that in the configure service access step, you must manually create a new role for EC2 instance if not exist that has the following policies or permissions: AWS Elastic Beanstalk Web Tier, AWS Elastic Beanstalk Worker Tier, AWS Elastic Beanstalk Multi-Container Docker, and let Elastic Beanstalk create a new service role or use an existing one if exists. So in this step, we under service role, I select create and use new service role, and you can see it suggests the service role name here, and you can see the permission details here. Okay, this will be created automatically. And under EC2 instance profile, you see no options now, and view permission details. You see it requires to have a new EC2 role with the following permissions: AWS Elastic Beanstalk Web Tier, AWS Elastic Beanstalk Worker Tier, and AWS Elastic Beanstalk Multi-Container Docker. And to create a new role, you can click the RAM console link here to go to the identity and access management console. Okay, this is the RAM dashboard. Let me copy this permission name. Okay, and click roles on the left menu. Click create role here, AWS service, and here choose EC2 here, and click next. And under permissions policies here, type AWS Elastic Beanstalk into the search text field and choose AWS Elastic Beanstalk Multi-Container Docker, AWS Elastic Beanstalk AWS Elastic Beanstalk Web Tier, and AWS Elastic Beanstalk Worker Tier, and click next and enter the role name. For example, AWS Elastic Beanstalk EC2. Okay, and click create role here to create a new role with required permissions specified described here. Click close. Okay, you can see a new role created here, AWS Elastic Beanstalk EC2. And back here you click the refresh button here and you can see the new row here. Choose it AWS Elastic Beanstalk EC2 and click next to go to the third step. Okay, so this is for setting up networking database tasks. These steps are optional, but for the database we need to configure database here. And in the configure database service step, we need to enable database service RDS and choose MySQL engine and specify username and password which the application will use to connect to MySQL server instance. And after the first deployment attempt, we go to RDS service to check database server instance to get schema name or DB name and get database host name, connection endpoint, and port number. This information will be used in environment variables for database settings for data source connection information. Okay, so come back to the third step here. Under database, click enable database. And under database settings, choose the engine is MySQL. Engine is MySQL here. And default version, you see, default version is 8.0.35. Default instance class DB T2 micro, storage size 5 GB, and these are the username and password which the application will use to connect to the MySQL server instance. So I note the username and password in the text editor, text edit here. MySQL user 123 and password is MySQL past 456 username and password. Okay, and leave the other options as default. And note that in the database deletion policy here, you can choose which method you find suitable. Here I choose delete. That means when the application is undeployed, the database will be also deleted. Okay, so just click next. Okay, and in the next step, step 4, we need to add a new environment variable for server port number. Let me see. No, this step is not necessary, so click next to go to the next step. Okay, in this step, we need to update the environment variable or environment properties here. You know, by default, Spring Boot application running on embedded Tomcat server listening on port number 8080, but Elastic Beanstalk assumes that the application will listening on port 5000, so we need to specify an environment variable with the name is port or server underscore port and value is 5000. So in this step, under environment properties here, click button add environment property and the property name is server underscore port and value is 5000 and click next to go to the review step. Okay, this is the last step. We need to review all information, environment information, web server environment, application name, application code is an executable Java file, and service access here, service row EC2 instance profile, database here you see instance traffic and scaling. So you have, if you have knowledge about this kind of information, you can tweak the deployment to fit the need. Okay, and these are the environment properties. Okay, and click submit to try to deploy the application. And you see it opens the environment page here, and you can see the message Elastic Beanstalk is launching the environment. This will take a few minutes. You can see environment overview, health is still unknown, and the domain to access the application after deployment. Here, application name, environment ID, platform Creator 17, and you can see the logging information under the events tab. Here you see curated security group, environment health has transitioned to pending. So this will take a few minutes to complete. And you can see on the left, you can see the menu items to use Elastic Beanstalk here to see applications, environments, change history, and for this current environment, you can go and see the configuration, events, health logs, monitoring, alarms, managed, updates, tasks, and so on. Okay, and you can see here curating AWS database named. That means it is provisioning MySQL database server instance. It may take a few minutes, so we need to wait. And you see it says created AWS database named. That means a new MySQL server instance was created successfully and waiting for EC2 instances to launch. And you see the health status is okay. That means the deployment is successful, and you can see running version is version 1. Okay. And to access the newly deployed application, we can click the domain, the link under domain here. Click, and I got error. File to bad gateway. Don't worry. Let me check the logs. You can see the last message is environment successfully launched. The application is successfully deployed, but we got error. Bad gateway error is because the database settings. Okay, so click logs here. Request logs last 100 lines. Okay, click download to see what happened. And you can see we got the error java.net.connection exception, connection refused, could not obtain connection, query metadata, communication links failure. That means the application could not connect to MySQL database server. Okay, now we need to go to RDB service or relation database service to see the database settings. So click menu services here and click AWS. If you don't see AWS, you can go to storage here, and you can see click database here, and you can see AWS here. You see relation database services. Okay, and click DB instances here as Amazon dashboard. DB instance, no DB, click refresh button. Let me check events. It said that curated RDB database name, so we need to wait. Let me sign in AWS Amazon.com site to the console. Sometimes you need to open a new browser tab to see refreshed data. Okay, and click AWS. DB instances. Oh, sorry. Somehow the AWS region chosen here is not Virginia. I need to go back to the previously chosen AWS region, which is US East. And now I see the new database instance here. Status available, engine, MySQL community. Okay, and click here, click the name to see the details. You see DB identifier, status available, and this is important information for the application to connect. This is the endpoint, and this is the port number. This is a database host name. This is a port number. 3306 is the default port number of MySQL server. And click configuration to see the schema name. You see the DB name or schema name is AirBDB. And for the database connection information, we need to add some new environment variables with the following names: Spring underscore data source underscore URL, Spring underscore data source underscore username, Spring underscore data source underscore password. These variables will override once in the application configuration file, the application.properties file. Okay, so now back to the deployment page here, the environment. Click configuration on the left menu here, and we need to modify the environment properties to specify data source property for the application to connect to MySQL database instance. So click edit here under updates monitoring and logging, edit. Okay, here click add environment property, and the first one, Spring underscore data source underscore URL, and note that the value must be the endpoint here, prefixed by JDBC colon MySQL colon // and then hostname and then port number slash and the schema name or DB name is AirBDB. Yeah, AirBDB. Okay, let me copy this string to a text file so you can see its full form. Here you see this is JDBC URL for the connection to MySQL server instance on AWS, and the second property is for username and value. I already noted here, and the last one is password. And the value I already noted here. Okay, let me check Spring data source URL, Spring data source username, Spring data source password. Okay, click apply and wait for Elastic Beanstalk to update the environment and restart the servers. You see, environment update is starting. Okay, you see it says instance deployment completed successfully. Okay, and we can click the link, domain link here to test the newly deployed application. Oh, I got this error. Could not extract result set. Let me check the logs here. Let me review. JDBC : MySQL : // is EBDB. It's because in the application properties file we specify the property Spring JPA hibernate DDL auto equal none, so it did not create a new table product according to the product entity class here in the database. That's why we got the error 500 error here. Let me fix the error by overriding the value of this property. Okay, so similarly we go to configuration here and we need to add a new environment variable to override this setting. Spring JPA hibernate DDL -auto. Okay, so edit here. Okay, and add a new environment property. The name should be Spring _JPA _hibernate _DDL -auto, and value is update. Okay, click apply. Okay, and wait. Okay, you see it says successfully deployed new configuration to environment update completed successfully. And let me check the link here. I still got the same error, so I think the property name is wrong. Spring JPA hibernate DDL -auto equal update. Spring JPA hibernate DDL auto update. Let me edit. I think it should be underscore here. Okay, click apply. So for every change you made to the configuration of an environment, it requires restart. You see, environment update is starting. Okay, done. Instance deployment completed successfully. Let me check the logs first. Request logs last 100 lines to see if are there any errors. Okay, this is a log last 100 lines. Okay, I think the application is now running. So I click the link here. Here we go. You see the product list page. That means the application successfully connected to MySQL server, and click create a new product 1, brand 1, made in country 1, price 1000, save. Okay, it works. You see. Let me create a second product, country 2, 2000. Oh, okay, it works. And let me create the third product, brand 3, made in country 3, price 3000. Okay, you see it works. And let me update product 2, product number 2, 246, brand 246, country 246, 2246. Okay, it got updated, you see. Okay, and let me delete the first product here. Delete. Okay, you see it works. Now let me access the newly deployed application again and create another product number 4, brand 4, country 4, price 4,000. Okay, you see it works perfectly with the database. After deployment, you can check the AWS services provisioned by Elastic Beanstalk for the newly deployed application. Firstly, check EC2 or check the virtual server. So click menu services EC2 here. If you don't see EC2, click compute and click EC2 to see the virtual server provisioned. You see one instance running. You see instance ID, state running. This is a virtual server. You can see the details here, various information. Linux, you can see it is running on Linux platform. Okay, and the second service you can check is IAM to see the new rows created for the deployment. Click rows here and you can see some new rows created here. AWS Elastic Beanstalk service row, auto scaling, and AWS service row for AWS. And the next service you can check is storage service or S3. Go to S3 to see the development artifact uploaded under this bucket here in the region name is US East. You can see the executable jar file of the application was uploaded here, you see. And the next service you can check is AWS DB instance is only one. You see the details of the database instance, you see. And to stop a running version of an application, you can terminate an environment. So click the menu, left menu here and click environments here. You can go from application, go to application, product manager, and you can see the associated environments, and there's only one environment that corresponds to the version 1 here, and click here and you can see the action menu here. So click the button terminate environment to stop the running version environment here. You can select here and click action terminate environment here and enter the name of the environment to be terminated, product manager, and click terminate. Okay, the environment is being terminated, and you can click the environment name to go to the environment page and see the logging message is here, waiting for EC2 instances to terminate. This might take a few minutes. Finished validating environment EC2 instances for termination protection environment. Okay. And to undeploy or remove an application from AWS, you can go to Elastic Beanstalk Management Console, go to Applications, select the application and click the action and click delete application if the application is no longer needed, and enter the name of the application to be terminated, product manager. Sorry, we should delete the application. Enter the name of the application, product manager, click delete application name, and it is being deleted. Okay, you see removed instance from environment here, and you can see the message product manager application is being deleted here. Alright, so that you have seen how to deploy a Spring Boot application with MySQL database on AWS using Elastic Beanstalk Management Console. I hope you found this video helpful. Please subscribe to my channel, like, comment, and share this video. Thanks for watching.